Hi guys, I've been saying for some time that I believe Donald Trump is riding two horses. On one of them, he's attempting to become the Nobel Peace Prize winner. He wants to see the war in Ukraine come to an end, and he wants to be crowned victorious there, the one who delivered this peace. But on the other hand, he wants to have a good relationship with Vladimir Putin. He admires the guy, and he wants to have a working relationship with him. So he has to pander to the Russian leader in some way. But at the same time, if he panders too much, then he's going to undermine his chances of achieving peace in Ukraine. This is why he's so antagonistic towards Zelensky. Now, his vice president is trying to sell both of these ideas to the American public, that peace can be achieved, but also a good relationship with Putin is necessary. Here he was on NBC trying to compare what's happening in Ukraine at the moment with previous wars, and it doesn't make any sense.
I want to get to security guarantees, but very quickly, if Russia is allowed to keep any of the territory that it illegally seized, what message does that send to China? Does it give China a green light to invade Taiwan? Does it give Russia a green light to invade other European countries, which is what your European allies are concerned about?
Well, first of all, the Ukrainians are going to ultimately make the determination about where you draw the territorial lines in their own country. But Kristen, this is how wars ultimately get settled. If you go back to World War II, if you go back to World War I, if you go back to every major conflict in human history, they all end with some kind of negotiation. We're actually...
No. Look, I don't know if he's stupid or he's pretending to be stupid because he's hoping that the American public are stupid. World War I did not end with some sort of negotiation. There were attempts to negotiate during World War I, but they collapsed because both sides believed that they would win the war. It eventually was negotiated. An armistice came about because Germany and Austria-Hungary collapsed. But it was not a real negotiation. And then World War II, which is fresher in people's minds, Germany did not negotiate its surrender. There was no negotiation. Germany surrendered. The same with Japan. There was no negotiations when it came to Japan. They were forced to surrender. What the heck is he talking about?
Not active parties in the negotiation. We're effectively mediating. We're trying to mediate the Ukrainians and the Russians to come to some agreement. If the Ukrainians...
Then why do you never invite Ukraine to the negotiations? You had negotiations with Putin and you refused to invite the Ukrainians. You keep saying it's up to them. They're the ones who will decide. Then why are they not at the table?
Are willing to say something on territory that brings the conflict to the close, we're not going to stop them. We're also not going to force them because it's not our country. We're trying to play a constructive role. The president is trying to play a constructive role to bring peace to the region, but he's not going to force these parties to walk through the door. All he can do is open the door and ask them to negotiate in good faith.
See, Donald Trump, it seems, doesn't really want to get involved in this. I think he sees it as a distraction. But at the same time, he wants to be crowned the guy who solved this problem, who fixed this issue, who brought peace in Eastern Europe. But he doesn't seem to understand the origin of this conflict. He doesn't understand the goals that Putin has, or doesn't seem to care. So he wants to achieve something, but he's undermining it himself. He has huge influence. He has huge power. He could force the Russians to negotiate. He could force the Russians out of Ukraine if he truly wanted to do that. Tomorrow, he could say, what we're going to do is we're going to force the Russians out. We're going to give the Ukrainians whatever they need. We're actually going to give them troops if necessary. We're going to give them the weapons necessary to hit targets in Russia. He could say that. He could do that. It's within the power of the President of the United States. But Trump is not doing that because he wants to have a good relationship with Putin for some reason. Maybe it's to do with China. Maybe it's to do with other issues. Maybe because he admires Putin. Maybe it's because he wants to have luxury hotels in Moscow. I don't know. We may never know what goes on behind closed doors between Putin and Trump. But I think Trump is trying to achieve two things. First of all, this attempt at peacemaker, something that he'll be remembered for forever. but also a good relationship with somebody who has imperialistic goals. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. I'll see you in the next video.